Hong Kong issues amber rainstorm signal twice as lightning strikes a swimming pool diving platform. Elon Musk becomes the world's first trillionaire following SpaceX's stock market debut. Good evening and thank you for joining us. The observatory issued the amber rainstorm signal twice today. Authorities forecast that the unsettled weather will remain over the territory in the following 2 days, bringing the rainfall of up to 200 millimeters. Musin reports.
At 5 a.m., the observatory issued the first amber rainstorm signal. Most residents carry umbrellas with them. A man wears his raincoat as he cycles in the rain. Weather authorities say an active southwest monsoon and a trough of low pressure are bringing heavy rain to the territory. In Shatin and Taipo, the recorded rainfall exceeded 30 millimeters, while the precipitation in Chunwan and Kuaiting surpassed 70 millimeters. At 8:45 a.m., authorities lifted the amber signal, but the amber signal was raised again at 2:15 p.m. after another deluge hit Hong Kong. This time, the rainstorm warning lasted for more than an hour. Looking ahead, the showery conditions will remain over the territory until Monday, and the observatory forecasts that the accumulated rainfall may reach 200 millimeters in the coming 2 days. Authorities remind residents to beware of the possible impacts brought by thundery showers and squalls when organizing or engaging in outdoor activities. Musin, TVB News.
A Shatin public swimming pool's diving platform is suspected to have been damaged by a lightning strike during the amber rainstorm on Saturday morning. No one was injured. Musin again.
The incident happened at Shatin Jockey Club's swimming pool. These photos show that a corner of the number 2 dive platform was chipped and its protective cover also fell aside. On social media, the Hong Kong and Kowloon Lifeguards Union says the suspected lightning strike occurred around 6:30 a.m., just after a few swimmers had entered the pool. The Leisure and Cultural Services Department says the main pool will be closed for maintenance until further notice. During the hour of the incident, the thunderstorm warning signal was in force. Describing the incident as rare, the union's chairman says swimming pools can stay open even under the thunderstorm warning signal, but lifeguards will advise swimmers when to exit the pool depending on the weather conditions. While the accident led to no injuries, lightning strikes have caused deaths in Hong Kong in the past. In 2019 and 2022, some hikers died after being struck by lightning. Musin, TVB News.
Hong Kong has overtaken Switzerland to become the world's largest cross-border wealth management center, according to a recent report. Secretary for Financial Services and the Treasury Christopher Hui says the city's one country, two systems framework enables it to navigate global changes, and he is confident that Hong Kong will remain a leading wealth management hub. According to the Global Wealth Report 2026, Hong Kong manages $3 trillion in cross-border assets, ranking first globally and overtaking Switzerland. The report projects annual wealth growth of around 9% through 2030. Hui says the city's core strength lies in one country, two systems, and amid rapid global changes, capital from various sectors and regions is seeking diversification, and Hong Kong's stability makes it an attractive investment destination. The government had unveiled the action plan to promote the development of corporate treasury centers in Hong Kong on Tuesday, introducing a 4T framework, including tax revamps, tax agreement, and targeted promotion.
One of the measures or mechanism that we've introduced or we plan to introduce is to have a pre-approval mechanism. And that's exactly something that we are doing in response to market demand. Because for many of these companies, when they decide to set up corporate treasury center in Hong Kong, they need certainty in terms of whether they are going to take advantage of our tax concessions.
Hui notes bank deposits in Hong Kong are not subject to interest tax, meaning no additional tax burden. However, if an internal company lends funds to a treasury center and earns interest, it is subject to profits tax, creating an imbalance. The new measures aim to address this issue. Earlier, Hui visited Central Asia with Chief Executive John Lee. He described the trip as highly productive. Hui will lead a financial delegation of more than 30 members to Shanghai, Suzhou, and Hangzhou, where he plans to attend events supporting mainland enterprises to expand overseas, with the goal of attracting more companies to establish operations in Hong Kong. Elon Musk becomes the world's first trillionaire after shares of his rocket company SpaceX soared in Wall Street's biggest initial public offering of stock on Friday. Tracy Furness has more.
Shares in SpaceX jumped more than 19%, opening at $150 a share at noon Friday, then rose to around $168 before finishing the day just above $161. A sign that investors are looking past the billions the company is losing and instead betting that its massive investments in satellites, orbital data centers, and artificial intelligence will pay off in the future. Musk is even aiming at establishing a colony of people on Mars.
The world's richest man just became its first trillionaire. Elon Musk took his rocket company SpaceX public on Friday in the biggest initial public offering in history. He raised $75 billion. That's more than double the previous record holder. The stock shot up 24%. Soon after it began trading in the afternoon, nudging Musk, who was already fantastically wealthy, over the $1 trillion mark.
Wall Street may be happy with the stock price, but not everybody is on board, with some believing the price is massively inflated.
Wall Street banks are enthusiastic about the stock. They helped take the company public, and they're going to make big fees for doing so. So it's understandable. More independent outfits like Morningstar, a research firm, is a little less enthusiastic. They think the stock, as currently valued at the IPO price, is more than double what it's really worth.
Sharp criticism has come too from politicians and members of the public who see Musk as a symbol of rising global inequity. Musk's company is valued at more than $2 trillion. Senator Elizabeth Warren wrote on X, "We are living in a time when more and more people are just hanging on by their fingernails to survive in this economy. Today's market should be a wake-up call." Put in perspective, Trump's personal wealth now exceeds Poland's entire GDP. Musk's message Friday, however, was to sell SpaceX as a way for everyday people to experience space travel. "We want to take you there," he says, "not just a few astronauts." Tracy Furness, TVB News.
Senior U.S. officials signaled that an agreement with Iran to end the conflict was close, and Washington expects to sign an initial deal in coming days. Iran's nuclear program will be addressed during a 60-day period of talks. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi tells State TV that Tehran's position on a stockpile of highly enriched uranium has been consistent and that the only acceptable method is its dilution or conversion inside Iran. Nanny Zhou has the story.
As part of the agreement, the two sides would respect their respective sovereignty, according to the foreign minister. It is also reported that the emerging deal is expected to pave the way for reopening the Strait of Hormuz, as thousands of seafarers aboard hundreds of ships remain anchored at the mouth of the Persian Gulf. Araghchi states that Tehran wants a deal to charge vessels passing through the waterway for services rendered, although the US and other countries have criticized Iran's imposition of toll system as a breach to international laws. Araghchi has also urged the release of Iran's frozen assets, for which a mechanism has been specified. Pakistani Prime Minister confirmed on Friday that Washington and Tehran had agreed to the wording of an agreement. Earlier, US President Donald Trump called off new strikes against Iran hours after he ramped up threats to seize control of the Islamic Republic's oil and gas industries. Speaking in the Oval Office on Thursday, Trump said he believes Tehran is on the cusp of coming to an agreement with them over ending the war, but did not give details.
Mr. President, on Iran, how confident are you that there will be a signing this weekend? Because you have come close to sealing a deal, but at the last minute it has fallen apart. And
it'll be soon, maybe this weekend.
And has the Supreme Leader approved this deal, sir?
I understand the answer is yes.
Meanwhile, media reports say Israel is continuing its military campaign against Hezbollah in southern Lebanon and has advanced into areas that it hasn't been in a quarter century. Tehran has repeatedly demanded Israel stop that aggression. Danny Zhou, TVB News.
Russia's defense ministry has reported its forces have taken control of 5 settlements in Ukraine's Kharkov and Donetsk regions over the past week, while Ukraine on the same day reported attacks against Russian energy infrastructure. This as Russian forces carried out 7 retaliatory strikes over the past week, targeting infrastructure facilities used by the armed forces of Ukraine. Tracy Furness reports.
Russian President Vladimir Putin held a meeting Friday with servicemen fighting in Ukraine. Putin congratulated them on Russia Day and took their questions. During their conversation, Putin said the enemy was expanding the use of military drone technology, primarily to achieve a single objective. That objective is to create division within Russian society, to inflict moral damage on us, to seed confusion among Russian citizens, and to cause economic harm, Putin said. This is Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky held an awards ceremony in Kyiv to celebrate the first day of the unmanned systems forces. In his speech, Zelensky said his country's advances in unmanned fighting systems were one of its greatest achievements. He said unmanned systems had struck more than 356,000 Russian targets in the past year. It is proof of Ukrainian leadership in technology, Zelensky said. Kyiv's forces have targeted supplies to Crimea, triggering the worst fuel crisis on the Black Sea Peninsula since it was annexed by Russia in 2014. The persistent attacks reflect the growing intensity and efficiency of Ukraine's drone strikes and have caught Russia off guard and struggling for a response. And as the country marks the Russia Day national holiday, the start of the summer holiday, gas shortages threaten to cause further disruptions to the tourist-dependent region with its beaches and resorts. Tracy Furness, TVB News.
And still ahead. 1 year after Air India's plane crash, victims' families still seek answers. Pets in Gaza suffer with few vaccines and medicines. And Kazakhstan's Palm scans showcase the country's digital future. Welcome back. The Ministry of Commerce has expressed strong dissatisfaction with the Pentagon's updated list of firms allegedly linked to China's military and called for its immediate withdrawal. It urges Washington to stop its erroneous practices and return to the correct track of building a constructive, strategic, and stable China-U.S. relationship. Tech giant Alibaba, search engine Baidu, automakers BYD and NIO, as well as the world's largest solar panel makers Trina Solar and JA Solar Technology, are among the Chinese big names included in the sanctions list released on Monday. Under the law, the U.S. Defense Department will be barred from directly contracting with those companies and restricted from purchasing their products or services through third parties starting 2027. The action came a month after President Xi Jinping met his U.S. counterpart Donald Trump in Beijing. In a statement, Beijing says the list ignores the consensus reached between the two heads of state, pledging to retaliate resolutely and forcefully if its firms are not treated fairly. 1 year after the world's deadliest aviation tragedy in a decade, bereaved families are gathering in India's Ahmedabad to mourn and pay tribute to the 260 people killed in the crash of Air India 171. They had expected a final report from authorities by Friday, but were still awaiting answers to the cause of the incident. Danny Zhou reports.
Relatives and friends of the victims are holding vigils and prayer meetings in Ahmedabad, capital of Gujarat state, to mark the first anniversary of the disaster. As they observed a moment of silence, families holding photos of their loved ones embraced one another while tears were flowing down. In the city of Mumbai, people in choir also sang in memory of those killed. On June 12, 2025, shortly after taking off from Ahmedabad, the London-bound Boeing 787 Dreamliner crashed and slammed into BJ Medical School. All except one passenger of the 242 people aboard were killed. 19 others on the ground also lost their lives. At the crash site, which is still cordoned off, stands the damaged building that bear the scars of the impact. On Friday, on this painful milestone, the family said their grief remains undimmed. Father of the 12-year-old victim, Akash Patni, stated his life had been ruined. I pray to God that no one should suffer such a big tragedy of losing their young son. No one should face such a big calamity, he said. Investigators haven't determined the cause of the incident yet. The plane's engines lost thrust after the fuel control switches moved almost simultaneously from run to cut-off, according to a preliminary report released last year. U.S. officials' early assessment indicates the Air India flight's captain cut flow of fuel to the plane's engines, citing a cockpit recording of dialogue between the two pilots. The Indian Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau said it was too early to reach any definite conclusions at the time. However, the father of the captain, Sumit Sabharwal, pushed back against claims that his son was to blame, stressing he got years of experience and had an incident-free career. Danny Zhou, TVB News.
U.S. President Donald Trump says that a swift and lethal kinetic strike killed Hector Rosenfort Guerrero Flores, whom he called the leader of Venezuela's Tren de Aragua gang. Tren de Aragua has been labeled by the U.S. as a terrorist organization. Better known by his alias Nino Guerrero, the gang leader was charged in a New York court with racketeering, conspiracy, and other crimes last year. Guerrero's gang expanded in recent years as millions of Venezuelans migrated to other countries in search of better living conditions. Trump and other U.S. officials have consistently blamed Tren de Aragua as a root of violence and drug dealing that plagues some U.S. cities. Gaza's human and animal residents are still suffering months after the start of the ceasefire between Israel and the Hamas militants. Pet owners are struggling to feed their animals and protect them from diseases, as shortage of veterinary supplies hamper efforts to vaccinate and treat cats and dogs. More from Mimosang Ai.
Beyond a few facilities for farm animals, there are just 2 veterinary clinics for common pets remaining in Gaza. A small animal vet says the professionals in the enclave are struggling with the lack of animal immunization shots, and lots of pets have been lost. Due to the limited supplies of medicines available for animals in a war-torn territory, prices are too high for most of the pet owners. One owner says during the war, there was no food for days except dry bread and water, and she used to feed her cat with bread soaked in water. According to local vet, when owners resorted to feeding their pets with whatever they could find, there were many cases of food poisoning from things like onions, leading to many pet deaths. These deaths not only affect the pet owners psychologically, they contribute to environmental issues. The widespread increase in rodents is a result of pet animals' deaths. Mimosang Ai, TVB News.
While many people use mobile payments, Central Asian country Kazakhstan has introduced a palm payment system with about 1 million registered users and availability in over 15,000 retail outlets nationwide. A Kazakh state-owned enterprise says Hong Kong can help their companies go global. Grocery shopping in Kazakhstan's capital, Astana, can be done not just with mobile payments, but also with your palms. This palm payment system was rolled out in November in capital Astana and Kazakhstan's largest city, Almaty, with about 1 million registered users. About 1/3 of residents are registered. According to the developer, 1 in 10 customers use this palm payment.
I used to use my phone, so I'm getting used to pay by palm. Many people use their palm to pay because it's more convenient.
The palm system can also be used at ATMs for cash withdrawals. Users scan their palm using infrared technology, which reads unique vein patterns and converts them into encrypted biometric data.
It's a very similar concept, really, but instead of your face or instead of your finger, you are using your hand. The palm is much faster, much more secure due to the technology behind it, but also the structure of the data points are extremely unique around the palm itself. Paying by face, it's not consumer friendly. Consumers have different heights, so it's difficult to move your face around.
The company behind Palm Payment has also raised funds through a U.S. listing. Kazakhstan's national investment holding company said Hong Kong, as a leading global financial center, could help Kazakh businesses expand internationally.
What we are looking is for high-quality investors, so investors that are really making an impact to the local economy. Hong Kong, as a leading financial center, a leading gateway to the Asian and also global markets, will provide an opportunity for the Kazakh business community to expand via Hong Kong, using the platform in Hong Kong to expand to further new markets.
During his recent Central Asia visit, Chief Executive John Lee held meetings with the company to discuss cooperation. And that's the news. Thank you for watching.